Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Capcan and today I want to talk with you about my current character and make some sort of a build guide on it. I'm still working on the character, but up until level 75 and up until level 71 of my character and 75 of content of monoliths that I do, this character keeps itself on a very good level on hardcore solo account found, and I'm playing on Circle of Fortune, so no trading and stuff like that. Basically, this character is a very good character for you to start on hardcore if you just keep your resistances up and you're trying to go a bit more on defenses rather than on a totally offense talents. It will be fine and it will be quite comfortable. It will have a bunch of different defensive mechanisms, regen and stuff like that in order for you to feel safe. You will probably not encounter many situations where your health will be in danger at all, and it's just in general very interesting and cool to play. I do have a lot of fun with this character. It's a melee character that hits with different attacks. One that costs a lot of mana, and the second one that regenerates mana and still hits for a lot. And then there are many different spells that are proccing off of your attacks, and you do benefit from having both high spell damage and high attack damage and elemental damage in general. And it all works. So this is a hybrid Spellblade that is a completely representative of its name itself, and it is more than viable in hardcore solo account found, self-found, on start of the cycle, on start of the league, and you don't really need any items for it to work, and your campaign will be very easy to finish and all that stuff. Okay, so now, if I were to go through the character itself, what I want to go first is probably these are gonna be our skills that we're using. It's going to be Shatter Strike, Mana Strike, then Enchant Weapon and Flame Ward, with the last skill being Lightning Blast in my case, only because I do have Battle Mage's Endeavor, and it's quite fun for me to have this additional spell that's getting procced off of everything that I'm attacking. But you don't really need it, and you will probably use either Surge, that is going to be your blink attack that deals damage, or you will just invest more in Teleport, and your Teleport will be more useful. I do use Teleport without any talents as my teleportation skill, as my traversal skill, but you don't really need to do that because you will have one additional slot for you to have for some sort of blink skill. Surge, on the other hand, is a blink skill where you're surging with as a lightning forward, then you're pushing this like cold tidal wave if you want to spec in it more, and you deal pretty good damage with it, so it helps you with clear. So yeah, basically what I do have here is a bit lower version of what you can have here. In general, what is my setup is I do use two-handed weapons, any type of them. I don't stack as much armor, even though I try to find at least some of it. I do have a bunch of ward retention, and I do have a bunch of ward generation. So as you can see here, I do have 200% ward retention, and what that means is that ward is a mechanic that is basically an energy shield from Path of Exile. It's some additional shield on top of your health that decays with time, and ward retention is a rate with which it decays. The higher ward goes, the faster it starts to decay, and then so basically with more ward retention you have more maximum health, or more maximum ward that will not decay as fast as it would have been in other situation. And so this is my EHP. Ward retention and ward generation is an extension of my EHP and my sustain for this build. I've invested in it quite hard in terms of my passive points. There are a lot of them that you can get for ward retention and ward in general, ward generation. Yeah, and it works fine. It holds me defended against everything, at least up until these levels. I don't really have any problems, and I do have high amounts of damage, so I am very glad with how this character works out. So yeah, basically You saw kind of a review of my character. Now let's go from every single point of it. So with Shatter Strike, I'm going for, yeah, Probably I'm gonna go with skills first. So Shatter Strike is your main ability. It costs a bunch of mana and it deals most damage. It freezes enemies as well, and it kills frozen enemies below 100 health, but this part is not really interesting for us. What I was going first for was this whiteout thing. So basically your Shatter Strike recasts. So you're using it once and then it it's going to be used automatically on that place 2 times more. It has a little bit less attack speed and higher mana cost, but you can use all your other skills in a meantime, or you can use another Shatter Strike. This one increases your DPS just incredibly, and you want to go here as much as possible, and Breath of Cold is pretty good as well. Then after that I was going for Icy Flow for mana efficiency and ward gain, which is for defense and less mana cost, of course. And the last one was Frozen Shrapnel, additional ice spikes for your AoE clear. This part in particular you should take whenever you do have a good weapon with both flat melee damage and flat spell damage, and whenever you're getting to your like later talents with especially Volca's Razor. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. And just Shiver for additional area and cold penetration. So this is basically the Shatter Strike that I'm using. It is very good, and there's nothing really else that I can take that is going to be as useful as the things that I've taken. Now then, we do have Mana Strike. With Mana Strike, you do have some variation. Mana Storm with Mana Arc is what I've got here, but you don't really have to do it. If you want Mana Strike to only regenerate your mana as fast as possible, then you go for Arcanist Blade and Transfusion. It will give you more mana, more ward gain too from your Mana Strike. Otherwise, you just go into Sprite Blade. At least I was going for Sprite Blade for more area, and for this to feel more of a general skill and not just mana regen 0 damage skill. Mana Strike for me is a completely okay skill to use, even though the Shatter Strike is more powerful. This one is still good. And then I was taking a Rune Sap with Rage Sap, which gives you increases to global damage and increases to global spell damage. So this one in particular is very powerful for me to buff my other spells that are going from my attacks. If you don't want to go for Mana Storm, for example, and you don't want as much spells being procced from your attacks at first, then you just go for Transfusion, you go for maybe a Ward Strike, Arcanist Blade, there is Mana Drain, and you will have just incredible amounts of ward generation and mana generation instead of additional procs of damage. Then we are taking Enchant Weapon, of course. We are going for more active duration, less mana cost, so it will be free, and then Kindling Blade, it automatically recasts. This is the first thing that I have taken just for it to cycle itself, but though you still need to have it on your bar. Then yeah, like Desperation is a pretty good additional talent, and after that I've taken this route for Overloaded and Frostbrand. It gives you a bunch of flat cold damage, increases melee cold damage. Here we do have some additional free mana from time to time, and otherwise I'm gonna cap it off with just additional attack speed. This one I'm gonna talk a little bit later. And then with Flame Ward I was going for more additional, so increased duration, then additional ward per second, less elemental damage taken while my Flame Ward is on me, just less hit damage taking, more ward retention, which is yet again more EHP when I do have my Flame Ward, which is a very powerful defensive cooldown. And otherwise, when I do have some other free points, I'm investing them into increased fire damage. But I do have converted Flame Ward within my talents, which makes it yeah. So basically it will give me a frost damage instead, especially if you're going for Frost Ward here. So yeah, and this is what we do have there, but probably here is what I failed. I do have not Frost Ward converted, I do have Frost Aura converted in my passive tree. So here freezing aura, fire aura, it turns into cold. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, there's my there's where I screwed up. I need to take these two talents first, convert my my flame ward to frost, and then take all the rest of damage of fire damage modifiers that will impact my my cold damage instead, or just not take 2 infusion talent points and go full into through flames, and it will just give some additional flat fire damage to both attacks and spells, which is still elemental damage and still gets multiplied by most of multipliers that I do have on this character. Then in my current situation, I'm taking lightning blasts as I'm proccing them off with my unique weapon. I'm going full for supercharged flows, which converts it to cold damage, and then focal blast, so that I don't need to, I can't really raise all the chains quite high enough. So that it will be like AoE enough, and then that's why I'm taking focal blast. Focal blast makes this skill this small like, yeah, frontal cone ability that deals pretty good damage, and then I'm going for more additional chains for more multiplier damage from focal blast. I'm going for additional damage from front loaded and some spark charges, which are just additional spells that are gonna be generated and stuff like that. And I do have lightning attunement here, so lightning ages chance on cast, and it works from procs. So whenever I'm proccing that, I do have a chance to get lightning aegis, which grants increased lightning damage and less damage taken, which is very good for me to have, of course. And yeah, I do have a quite stable generation of lightning ages. Instead, if I didn't have my weapon, I would have taken Surge, and I would go into Glacial Assault, then into Cold Front with this Tidal Wave thing. I will for 100% go for Long Strider first, so basically from this Storm Ages to here and here. This will make travel distance of your Surge higher, and it's must have. And then I will go for Shield in Advance and using as less as possible talent points into these travel nodes, so that I will be invulnerable while I'm surging. It is very, very you need that if you want to play on hardcore. And then yeah, Long Strider, and for the rest of it I will go for Glacial Assault and just have some additional clearing damage. If you don't want to go for Surge, for example, or you don't have enough points, you just go straight up for your Teleport. With Teleport you can get some different additional stuff. To be honest, I haven't even played with Teleport being like maxed up and stuff. In the early game I had my Focus being updated, being, yeah, I've take so basically Focus was my Teleport. If you are taking Conveyance, your Focus becomes your Teleport. It has the same cooldown, it doesn't have mana cost, and if you channel your button and you're still pressing it after you've blinked, you will start Focus and you will start regenerating mana. And this was quite handy as well. I had some additional elemental damage, less elemental damage taken while I was focusing. But in general, if I needed a blink, I was just using it as a blink. If I needed my mana regen, I was blinking into safe space and then simultaneously regenerating my mana with Focus. So I don't really see why you need Teleport in general, because Focus is just a better version, but only with some points allocated in it. Okay, so yeah, that's it when it comes to the skills. What's up on the timing? The timing is okay, I guess, 14 minutes. Hold my beer. Okay, so I do have Battle Mage's Endeavor here. It gives me okay-ish melee damage, very quite low spell damage with lightning and cold. Then it has pretty okay attack speed, and it has this chance to cast Lightning Blast when you use a melee attack and hit at least one enemy. Otherwise, I would just take the hybrid based two-handed weapon, hybrid base with spell damage and melee damage, and got there as much melee cold and melee lightning flat damages as I could possibly get, and then maybe some attack speed on top and chance to probably either shock. Yeah, we need chance on shock because we don't have it from anywhere else. I do have it on my idols, but if you can get it here. Now, otherwise, when it comes to my gear, so wing guards are pretty good here. We gain haste for 1 second on hit. We're constantly hitting. We're not going for crit strike chances for now because we just don't have enough resources for that. Otherwise, it gives us a bunch of attack speed. Advent of the Erased with all the talents here is pretty good, but otherwise I would say that you take boots like these with ward decay threshold, which will create a safer situation for you whenever you were not generating ward recently. It will not decay as low. You will have higher ward in idle situations. So yeah, boots with base like this with movement speed and resistances and stuff like that. Nothing crazy, nothing special. Then when it comes to rings, I'm just trying to get as much resistances. Here I do have Invoker Static Touch that gives me a chance to gain ward when I hit a shocked enemy, and I constantly shock enemies. I do have here some additional spell damage, otherwise would have been just a general, and I have chance to shock on spell hit. Otherwise would have been just a regular ring like this one. And yet again, I'm trying to get ward decay threshold, ward in general. I have some percentage of mana spent gain as ward as well, but I don't need it that much because I generate just tremendous amounts of ward with my attacks anyways. Then +1 to Lightning Blast in my situation. Otherwise you just want to +1 to Shatter Strike or Enchant Weapon or Mana Strike, any of these other skills. In other places, just in general resistances. With relics you can get way better things that I have here, but yeah, it's level 71 character, it's day 2 of the fresh cycle, and here, yeah, I would just basically, we don't need crit, and otherwise stack defenses, stack health, stack vitality, stack intellect, and stack everything that comes with ward, especially with big amounts of it. Don't forget about chance to apply frailty on hit, because we do hit quite often and we can get it. We can get this stat to be quite useful. Here I do have, as idols, I do have some melee elemental damage. I'm capping my resistances. I'm trying to get as much ward retention as possible. I do use Singularity for more hit damage because I don't use I don't have crit strike chance. It's not my priority. I want to be more defended. Otherwise, yet again, big ward retention, nothing special. That's it. With my blessings, I'm just starting with the monolith, so resistances, experience, and some good loot is what I can get. Okay, now let's go for our talent trees, and that's probably something close to it. So reactive ward, yeah, whenever I was starting, I was going for Scholar for a little bit more, then I've respect into Arcanist. And but basically, yeah, Scholar is pretty good. It gives you health and mana and at first levels. Otherwise, Arcanist is pretty okay. Intelligence, ward, which gives you both ward retention and just increases damage of your skills. Then Fire Res, Lightning Res from here. Elementalist, just in order for us to have enough of points. Mage Flurry for additional attack speed and cooldown recovery speed for teleport. Reactive Ward is very powerful thing, and I advise you to take it as soon as possible. It will give you this panic button that will proc automatically whenever you're going to 70% of health, and you should not be at your 70% of health often at all, because you do have your ward as your health, which means that even if you're on 100% of your health, something bad happened to you, and this one will save you. So it will pump a big shield Depending on your health, it will pump this big shield. It will have 12 seconds cooldown. With your talent, it will be 6 seconds cooldown. So in general, it's just this saving mechanism. Here, after that, we do have ward retention 50%. It's 10 per point. It is very powerful passive talents. This top row here is the most powerful in this whole tree. And then like Mage Flurry is okay, Arcanist is pretty good, and Elementalist is the worst one. And then we do have Silver Rune, which increases ward gained from the reactive ward, and it decreases its cooldown, so it's very, very good. These talents here we don't really need, they are not for us. Maybe if you can somehow proc Volcanic Orb, you want at least one talent in here to convert it to cold, but that's not about my build. Then in our Spellblade talent tree, I'm going for Elemental Affinity. It is just in general very, very efficient in my view. 18% elemental resistances and elemental damage, which works on all our spells and all our attacks. Then I'm going for Arcane Warden for as much ward generation. Warden's Echo, I've got to 5 points way later on. I was taking only 1 point, and then I went for some points in Defender of Velrune. I do have this Elemental Strikes at least at 1 point, just in order to, if I don't have chill generation on any or many other on other places I like. But yeah, so this one is just for you to generate all the ailments, because ailments are cool. And then I do have Arcane Shielding, which decreases damage taken while we do have Arcane Shield. We do have Arcane Shield constantly, and yeah, we regenerate additional ward. And here Shattered Aegis gives us an ability to have 4 stacks of Arcane Shield, and it gives us some additional armor. Basically for fast attack builds, which we are, this one is pretty good. Then I do have Flamewalker 1 point just for our Frost Aura to pop up from time to time and to have some additional freezes on enemies and freezing auras. I'm not sure if these 2 talent points are really that good, but for me it works, and yeah, it's just some additional stuff that you can get for quite low investment. Otherwise, Mana Reaver, when you're into more higher levels, Mana Reaver is very, very powerful. You should take it first when you come to this part of talent tree. It gives you a chance to gain mana on every single attack and some additional health. This will mean that you will be way more mana efficient. And then for Prismatic Blade, 3 points only to get to Volca's Razor. Volca's Razor increases damage of everything that procs off of your attacks that cost more than 10 mana, and that is our Shatter Strike. So basically everything, Shatter Strike itself and everything that procs off of it will have a lot more increased damage. And then some Blade Weaver is basically whenever I'm using Mana Strike, I'm stacking some stacks that will make more damage from my Shatter Strike. And whenever I'm going into my low mana phase, I'm anyways using my Mana Strike, then my Shatter Strike will deal more damage. It's just complementary, but I don't need many points in here because I quite rarely use more than 2 or 3 mana strikes whenever I'm on low mana, and then I'm using my Shatter Strike. So yeah, basically, if you are not using your Mana Strike a lot, then you don't really need your Blade Weaver. And then I do have, I think that I will be putting all my points for now in Outrun and Outlast, which gives us additional ward retention and some health. It's just, yeah, I love ward retention and I need health. I like health. I just want not to die, and that's why I'm going into more defensive talents. But you still have a bunch of flat cold damage to attacks in many places here, like here, increased cat speed with teleport. I'm not sure if that you will feel it that much, but still, we do have a bunch of flat damage that you can get here, and even some like additional percentages as well, but some intelligence if you want to. But this is what I do have on my character, and I think that's something close to it. I don't think that there's anything else that I can show to you. The gameplay you have seen on the character. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good time. Bye.